There he is.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. Let me put this up so we got our hands free here. We'll give it about 5 minutes to let everybody come in.
Okay.
And then we'll get started.
You got a lot of people joining, dude.
Well, we got 8. Let's get it up to 100. Let's go, everybody. We're excited. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday to you all. Thanks for joining in. Today, I'm super excited to introduce and bring you live on Instagram Live my good buddy, great friend, Owen McKibbin. Owen's been in the fitness industry for 30 years, over 30 years, excuse me, Owen. Dedicating his life to health and wellness. A 19-time men's on the cover of Men's Magazine, a 10-year pro volleyball player. Owen, it's great to have you today, my man.
Thank you. It's 17, but I'll take 19.
All right. Well, what's the 2 years between friends?
You're my new PR guy.
There you go.
Why?
Owen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm the youngest of 8 kids. Was born in Long Island, New York. My dad unfortunately passed away unexpectedly at 41. I was 3. And my brave mom decided to move us as far away from Long Island as possible, but still stay in the United States. So she moved us to Hawaii, sight unseen. Never dated, never remarried, just dedicated her life to raising us kids. So I have 5 older brothers, 2 older sisters. You know, it's so funny. I played on the Pro Beach Volleyball Tour for 10 years, but I grew up a soccer player. So if you threw a ball to me, it was like boom, boom, boom. You know, nothing with my hands. And then I ended up being one of the best beach volleyball players in the world for a time. So, you know, things were crazy. I went to USC, and I always knew I wasn't the greatest volleyball player because there were just natural volleyball players that were much better than I. They didn't know that, but I knew that. And but one thing I knew, I'm like, I can be the most fit guy because that takes no amount of skill. It just takes discipline. So I knew that would somehow take me a lot farther than sports and everything else I've done. You know, I was lucky enough to live all over the world as a model, but I had braces on my teeth till I was 28 years old, which a lot of people don't realize. So I got real lucky. I was down at the beach playing volleyball, and Bruce Weber's assistant took a Polaroid. That night I was working for Ralph Lauren up in Santa Barbara. Then it was Guess. Then it was Hugo Boss. But I was almost 30 years old at this time. So just goes to show you, be prepared no matter where it is you are in life or what you're doing. Be good at it. Whether you're at Starbucks or you're working at Home Depot, be the best you can be at whatever it is you're doing right then, because you'll get these habits formed that'll serve you later in life. And I just so happen to be pretty good at motivating people and working around injury. I've had 4 knee reconstructions, 2 major back surgeries, my shoulder reconstructed. I found out the entire time I played at USC and on the Pro Beach Tour, I had a broken spine and I didn't even know it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really heavy. So I've been, you know, a lot of people see my covers, so like, oh, he's just genetically gifted. I'm like, well, my dad died at 41 of a heart attack. That's genetics. You know, one of my siblings is obese. They say that's genetics. So don't count the genetics card. You know, you got to do something each and every day to, you know, ensure that you live a happy and healthy life. And that's what's so great about you and I crossing paths, because we both have a passion. It's the ketogenic lifestyle. And, you know, and you have a non-compete product with mine, and your bar is the best tasting bar in the world. It literally is the best tasting bar in the world. And if you guys have tried keto products, they often taste like garbage. They taste like sand. The initial mouth feels fine. And then once you chew it, God forbid you got to swallow it, it's like swallowing a handful of cardboard mixed with sand. Your Keto Krisp bar is insane. And if you microwave it for 20 seconds, it's heaven.
Yes, thank you very much. Hey, talk to me about the discipline, because you know, you've been working out your whole life basically, and you look great.
Thanks, buddy.
You know, you look great, and I think discipline is the #1, well, a main factor in physical fitness and obviously everything that you do. So talk about your discipline approach to working out and staying in shape.
Well, it's a great question. And a lot of people look at the long game too much. Like if you're overweight and out of shape, you don't know where to begin. I recommend, so I coach 12,000 people online. We start with the first 5 minutes of the day. Win that first 5 minutes of the day. For me, that means getting up early, getting some water in me, my keto fuel right here. This is what all my peeps are taking. 2 scoops of this. It's perfectly ketogenically balanced, and it gives your brain and your body what it needs to function at a very high level. So that's the first 5 minutes of my day, and it sets the blueprint for success moving forward. If the day is 100 yards long, just win the first 5 minutes. Move the chains. Get a first down. Get those first 10 yards. Don't think of everything because you'll get overwhelmed. One step at a time. And the discipline starts right when you wake up. And it actually starts before you go to bed. You can picture kind of what you want to do that next day. And I like writing things down. I'll write 10 things down. Boy, it feels so good when you get to cross off like 2, 3, 4. I get to cross off like 4 or 5 of them before 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's great. And if you set these habits early and you repeat them, people wonder, they're like, dude, what do you do for a workout? I'm like, I do the most basic stuff on the planet, but I do it at a certain pace and a certain sequence that is effective because I'm consistent.
Well, consistency is very important. For me, you know, I was weighing in at about 250 pounds about 2 years ago. And I really didn't even know what keto was, but I know I really wanted to lose weight and have the opportunity to get in shape. You know, I had just moved to California to be with my brother, and I see all these healthy people, you included, and I was really inspired by what you did and what people did. What would you say to somebody that's just getting started? Because that's the hardest thing to do.
Well, Adam, look at you. You're in a wheelchair. And I remember I met you when you were bigger. I didn't know you were 250. I mean, what do you weigh now? Like 170 maybe?
It's crazy. I think, you know, 170, you know, I was actually 230. I was 230. And so I've lost about 60 plus pounds.
Hello, but like you can't run, but you find a way to get out of that chair. I see you battling. I see you throwing punches at the gym. I see you. I mean, I was worried the first time I saw you in the pool. I'm like, oh my God, homeboy's drowning. You're swimming, man. You're surviving. You're not just surviving. You're living, dude. If you can do it, and the people I coach online can do it. I have people that have lost over 130 pounds in 90 days. And these people, no gym, no trainer, no equipment, no problem. Here's what you do at home. You and I are a bit more lucky because, you know, we live in Southern California. The Santa Monica stairs are right around the corner from your and my house. Yep. We got the beach. We're set up to succeed. What you really need to do is do your research on the ketogenic diet. It was originally designed as the anti-cancer diet because cancer cells can't survive in a sugar-free environment. So it's about getting your body off of sugar, keeping your insulin levels low. Just so happens traumatic brain injury is all about controlling swelling. They recommend the ketogenic diet for people recovering from that. Once your body is in ketosis, and that can be quick for some people, it can be a couple of days, or you got to give it a couple of weeks. Once your body starts burning fat for fuel, you just start shedding weight. And it's truly remarkable, the side effects from the ketogenic diet. And if you give your body the right amount of fat, the first person I sat next to, who is the scientist from BULAFIT, the company I'm with, he got his soup and he started throwing pads of butter in it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna have a heart attack at the table. Then he got a pork chop and he was slathering butter all over it. He goes, this is how you get into ketosis. And I was blown away. So I trusted the process, and I actually used it for my last men's health shoot. And I lost, and you know me, I walk around pretty lean. Yeah. I lost 23 pounds in a month and a half. I didn't have 23 pounds to lose. I had cuts upon cuts, and it was all based on the ketogenic diet, all with my keto fuel, and all with just about being consistent. So if you're just starting off, adopt the ketogenic lifestyle. You can join my group if you want. There's no pressure there. Your snack bar, you're never going to crave sweets. If you're addicted to sweets, and a lot of people are, the Keto Krisp bar is right up your alley. If you were to blindfold me, and I would never guess it was a keto bar. It tastes that good. You got to drink a lot of water. Well, the good part about the ketogenic diet and keto products in general is if you're staying in, so the range is 75% fat, which is a lot, yep. 20% protein, 5% carbs. By giving your body all that fat, it keeps you fuller longer. Yesterday, I had one meal. I had my keto fuel. I won the first 5 minutes of the day, and I had one meal. Today, I woke up, I was 204. You know, 6 months ago, I weighed 233. And look, I mean, it's not like I'm burning muscle either. I got tons of muscle. You know, you don't need all that protein. You don't need to eat 5 meals a day. You don't need all those snacks. Intermittent fasting is the way to go. And if you want to lose fat, keto is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked wonders for me. You know, when I first started, you know, my buddy that got me in the pool, he's like, it's going to be 85% diet and the rest is going to be exercise. And exercise is critical, but obviously it starts there with the diet. And certainly, as you and I have both seen over the years, me the last couple and you for, I don't know, how long have you been on the keto diet?
Probably about 3+ years.
Yeah, 3+ years. I mean, you can totally just see the weight just fly off you like butter.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I used to be a big napper. Like I'd eat all this pasta, then I'd fall asleep. It was almost like Ambien. I don't need naps anymore. My energy, once your body starts burning fat for fuel, it burns fat more efficiently than anything else you can put in your body. You literally become a fat burning machine and your energy goes way up. I've noticed a change in my mental clarity as well.
Yeah, I feel the same. And it's just, you know, what advice do you give to people that, that are, again, we talked about just starting out with the diet, but what about workouts in general? I know exercise is obviously a key component. Can you talk to the benefits of exercise?
Yes. Great question. And I love this question because there's so many falsehoods out there in the public, people trying to make a quick buck, so much misinformation.
Hold on, you got to chill before you go. I want to see your face there. You got to back up a little bit. There you go.
That better?
Yeah, much better.
Sorry, I'm just getting excited.
I love it. I love it, baby.
So here's the deal. Push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges, the basic stuff have been around forever. It's because it works. Yep. So don't think you need to like have an arm day where why just do curls when you're working one little muscle when you can pull your body up or do a TRX pull-up or do an inverted row or however you want to do it. I call it zone progression training. It's a training system that I created where you exhaust zones in the body. So I'll do push-ups, then I'll do dips, and then I'll burn my triceps out with like really light weights. And then instead of resting, my heart rate goes sky high. Instead of resting, I'll do walking lunges to pull that blood and that burn down to my legs. Just to like your body starts freaking out. That's why the stairs, I do the pull-ups at the bottom, the bent arm leg raises up to the top, push-ups at the top. When you can create a flush like that, you fill your, like when you do push-ups, you're going to get full of blood here, your chest, your triceps, front of your shoulders. Then you further just tweak your triceps more till you're almost exhausted. A gym person will rest for 3 minutes, text someone, whatever, and do 3 sets of that. I do zone progression training. So I do that, then I'll do walking lunges. Then I'll come back. Once my upper body's recovered, I'll go back to the pushing, the dipping, the tricep isolation, back to the lunges, and I'll do 3 sets of that. So I do sequences. I'll pick 3 or 4 exercises that are full body compound moves. The more muscles you can use at the same time, the more calories you're going to burn in the shortest amount of time. It's called resistance-based cardio. You never have to like, people go, I'm going to lift and then I'm going to do cardio. You don't need to do that anymore. If you look at people that overdo cardio, like long distance runners, they don't live long. That beats you up. You can do resistance-based cardio as long as you sequence the moves in a way where you get the maximum exertion each time you're doing an exercise, but don't rest. Just pull that blood to a different part of your body. It's such an effective way to work out. I've dropped many a pro athlete and all-American college athletes by my method of training. And it works. I have all the BULAFIT warriors doing the same type of workouts, and they love it.
That's awesome. One thing I wanted to know, and we're taking a step back here, but how did you get started in physical fitness? What got you excited about it? Was there somebody you looked up to, or you talked a little bit about genetics before? And tell me a little bit about that. I'm curious.
Well, I literally had to survive living in my own household. I was the youngest of 8 kids, 6 boys, 2 girls. And I remember waking up early in the morning in Hawaii and trying to get to the shower first. And my brother would hear footsteps. I get a karate chop to the throat, steal my towel, then lock the door. Then everyone hears the water going. And it's like, if you're the youngest, you're not getting you're not showering anytime soon. So it's so funny. People go, "What was it like growing up in such a big family?" I go, a lot of wet towels and cold showers and wet towels. To this day, I still end with a cold shower, and I prefer a wet towel over a crisp one. Yeah, so I literally started getting fit because I had to survive like the walk from my bedroom to the bathroom. You know, I played varsity soccer as a freshman in high school, and I was really good. I mean, as good of a volleyball player as I became. I was 100 times better soccer player. And, you know, when you're a 14-year-old kid playing against 18-year-old kids, you got to be tough. And in Hawaii, especially where I grew up, you really got to be tough. So I don't know. I just admired watching my brothers. They were, you know, professional soccer players and major soccer players. I look at their legs. I'm like, man, I want to have legs like that. But I was a skinny kid. So
Right.
I always aspired to just, I don't know, just something that impressed me about musculature. Not artificial. I want to make that clear. Like bodybuilder guys that are all oiled up that are obviously doing a lot more than just keto. You know,
Right.
They don't know what they're doing. That's garbage. Anybody can do that. You want to look natural. You want to look like an athlete. You don't want to walk around like a rhino. You want to be more like the cheetah and maintain that gait. And that's what another good thing about compound full body moves. It builds you proportionately. Your back to your biceps, you know, your triceps to your chest, your legs a certain way. You don't look like a product of the gym.
Right. Talk a little bit about what advice you would give somebody that, you know, works out, but maybe's had a few injuries and doesn't want to overdo it, but still wants to keep in good shape.
That's another great question. Make sure you have good shoes. I would recommend never running on cement unless you're on an incline. Running on an incline is super advantageous. It increases the work rate, but it lowers, you know, factually lowers your distance from your foot to the ground. So it's less impact. You know, running backwards, running sideways, you want to hit your body at different angles. Swimming is amazing. I've been swimming a lot. You know, thank God our pool's still open. You know, stretching is super important. And once again, you don't need all the fancy gyms and all the fancy equipment. The only thing I do for my chest is push-ups. The only thing I do for my back and my arms are pull-ups. The only thing I use weights for are shoulders, lateral stuff, and some pressing. But that's it. Just do the basic stuff and be consistent, pushing and pulling, walking, lunging, squatting, all that basic stuff. But do it consistently, like brushing your teeth. Just do it.
One of the things that I really like about you, and I use this in my daily routine, is I don't care what it is, just do something active every day.
Yeah.
You know, talk to me a little bit about that and share some stories to the audience about that.
It's funny you say that because yesterday I was just dragging ass. I didn't want to do anything. And I think I redid my place and I put a cool little Zen workout area on my patio. I enclosed it in bamboo. I'm looking at the assault bike yesterday. I actually put it on Instagram. I'm like, not feeling it. I'm like, 10 minutes. That's 1 minute, 10 times. And everybody's got 10 minutes. I jumped on that thing for 13 minutes, 30 seconds on as hard as I could go, 30 seconds off for 13 minutes. It literally took me to the brink of death. My whole analogy is I picture a gun to my head. Can I do 3 more? Picture a gun to my head. Yeah, I'll give you 3. I know it's a little dark. I also picture aliens like looking down on the humans. They're like, They're like, ooh, that one's a specimen. He likes to push himself. That's an extraordinary human. You know, so I play little mind games to get the best out of myself. Something is better than nothing. One of my favorite people that I coach online, her name is Glenda McDougall. When I met her 3 years ago, she was in not a wheelchair, but like a cart. She couldn't walk. She was that overweight and out of shape. And I had a 20-second conversation with her. She's now one of the leaders in our company. And I told her, you're going to give me 20 seconds tomorrow. And the next day, you're going to give me 40 seconds. And on day 3, it's a minute. That woman joined our 90-day challenge right in the beginning of when the company started about 3+ years ago. I think Glenda has lost over 150 pounds, and she's one of my close friends to this day.
That's a great story. Another story I want you to share, which I'm just touched by, is a few weeks ago you met certain families and you helped a mother and a son, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just a really great story that really resonated with me because it looked like these people were just average Joe people, and you know, they really had trouble with their weight. So share that story. I think it's great, and a lot of people can relate to it.
I appreciate that. So we had our conference right before all the lockdown started in Florida. And I was talking to a lovely husband and wife team, great people, Marcus Jones and his wife. And they have an adorable little boy, son. And he's overweight and he was out of shape. And, you know, oftentimes it's a lot easier coming from someone else. You know, my son's a stud athlete. I have someone else train him. I have someone else do all the throwing stuff with him. I just want to be his dad. So it's hard sometimes. The ones closest to you don't want to listen to. So I'm like, do you mind if I have a hard conversation with your son? And they're like, please do. So I got into his head a little bit and I said, I'm going to challenge you. No more of that. No more of that. I go, it sounds like you have an excuse for everything. Take responsibility for yourself. And I thought it would go in one ear and out the next. I got sent the same video that you saw of he's like, hi, Coach Owen. I haven't had sugar in 3 days. I'm feeling really good. I'm getting my exercise in. It literally made me cry. He sent me two follow-up videos, and he's literally transformed his life. He says he wants to be the youngest BULAFIT warrior champion ever. And the kid's like 9 years old, man. And he checks in with me periodically. And it just goes to show, if you can sit with someone for 2 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes and share your passion and forget about the phone, forget about the girls walking by, just focus on one person. And I learned that from my mom. You can make someone feel really special and make them believe in themselves so they want to be the best they can be.
That's awesome. Tell me, you know, we're all fascinated with sports. You know, tell me a little bit about your son. He's such a great story, and we'd love to hear more about him.
Thanks. His name's Blaze McKibben. He's a 6'5.5" college quarterback. He played at Fresno State this past year, but he redshirted. Unfortunately, the coach he went to go play for had to step down for health reasons, so he entered the transfer portal. I think that we're going to go the JC route. He can knock out 2 years of academics in 1 year, and he gets to live with me. He gets to train with a world-class strength trainer. He gets to throw with his throwing coach. He gets more done in a week here than he did up there in a whole semester. He's a late bloomer. He started playing football late, but boy, this guy's the limit with this kid. Fun to watch him sling the rock. And what's great is he works really hard.
Well, you know, he's got some great values from his dad, and it's got to be so fun and a proud moment for you to be able to watch him and be able to tell that story. It's so cool.
It is, man. It makes, you know, it fills my eyes with tears of joy. He's my guy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Another thing, you know, we're all going through this, you know, this quarantine, and, you know, some days are better than others as far as, you know, energy and morale, and it's just uncertain times. What have you noticed yourself in how to deal with the current situation to stay positive?
You know, for as bad as it is, it could be a lot worse. I'm grateful for where I live. I'm grateful for my home gym. I'm grateful for this little guy. He just loves to be cuddled and Chapo.
Chapo, you got to make a guest appearance. Please introduce Chapo.
This is little El Chapo right here. It's my little guy. Please don't call the ICE agents on him. He's here legally, I promise. You know, you got to find a routine. A routine is super important, especially in times like this. My routine starts with the first 5 minutes of the day. It's that basic. You know, get your body and your brain what it needs to make the right choices. There's so many things. If you look at societies, you know, we've been told our whole life, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and it's very social too. You know, 3 snacks. And, you know, you got these companies on TV saying, just eat the food, you lose the weight. Having food in your system all the time is not a great call, unless you're like a high school or college athlete, like a football player, and you need to keep weight on and all that stuff. But once you're a full-grown human, I highly recommend, you know, picking and choosing. You don't need those high glycemic carbohydrates, the rice, potatoes, pasta, bread. Now, there's types of pasta and types of bread that are actually good for you, but you got to be smart. You got to read labels. Try and eat organic and natural if you can. I know a lot of people can't afford that or don't have access to that, but just be smart about what you think you need and what you know is best for you. There's a big difference there. Water, you got to pound the water. I'm a huge fan of 1 or 2 meals a day. That's all I need, especially if I have high fat with moderate protein and low carbohydrates. I think it's the way to go. It's really worked for me. I wish I had known that back when I was a pro athlete, because it would have served me really well. Find a routine, do something physical every day if you can. Even if it's just doing a set of knee push-ups, right to a set of mountain climbers, right to a set of squats, and then a set of jump squats. Guess what? That'll take you 45 seconds. It'll get your heart rate sky high. That's a great starting point. If you do that like today or tomorrow, congratulations, good for you. And I mean that. The next day, throw in another round, or maybe add 2 more push-ups or 5 more push-ups or 5 more squats. Anything. Something is better than nothing. And I'm telling you, when you do it enough times, force yourself to do it. It's like brushing your teeth. It becomes a habit. And that's super important, especially in times like this.
And you, immediately after you work out, the endorphins are released. You feel good. You're ready to rock and roll. I know when we're done with this live here, I'm going right to the pool.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I actually swam this morning. I'm going to go get on that bike and show it who's boss. It's such a great question, Adam. And like yesterday, for example, I was dog dead tired. And I was like, man, I can tell I'm just going to be in a funk for the rest of the day. I'm like, 10 minutes on the bike, just do it. And I did it 10 minutes, 1 minute, 10 times. Actually, it was there 13 minutes. But my night was better. My day was better. My brain was better. Everything, it kind of flushes and resets the system. Yes.
I got to ask one question because I'm curious. Tell me what it was like being a pro volleyball player.
Oh, my gosh. It was, I'll tell you what, not only was I a pro beach volleyball player, but I was on billboards all over the world in ads for Guess and Hugo Boss and Ralph Lauren all at the same time. I had a really fun life. You know, a lot of it I probably can't share on here, but boy, oh boy, was it fun. And I was single, and I think I was pretty fun. And, you know, I was a decent volleyball player, probably a better model than I've had a fun life. Knock on wood, baby.
Hey, Owen, I want to open up for some questions, keto-based questions. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And then, one of the questions here is from Pollyanna. She asked about plant-based keto. What's your thoughts on plant-based keto?
You know, plant-based proteins are something that's, you know, I've heard a lot about. I don't know the science to give you a great answer on that, but I think your body can assimilate plants a lot easier than it can for, say, for example, animal protein. So I think plant-based keto is a good way to go. I would try it. You know, everyone's different though. Depending on what your genetics are and where the origin of where, you know, if your genetics and your origin of your ancestors come from Eastern Europe, you're probably not made for fasting, intermittent fasting. So there's a lot of keys that go into answering that question accurately.
Okay. What other questions do we have out there, guys?
Hi, Gigi.
We love G-Bird. Nick's got one. Can you read that? What are you guys' thoughts on providers,
collagen powders and collagen supplements? That's a great question. My friend out at the, you know, Anissa, she just gave one of her clients a collagen powder. You know, she said you can mix it in coffee. It doesn't change the consistency and it doesn't change the taste. I've only heard great things about collagen. I'm not a collagen expert, but I don't think it's going to hurt you one bit.
Right. I know I mix the vital proteins in my water every day, and you know, it really helps me.
Is that why you look like Superman?
If that's what you think, I'll take it.
It is, man.
But yeah. Any other questions here? I think we're good. Guys, I really appreciate you coming on. Owen, I really appreciate you coming on. It was so fun, my man.
Yeah.
Always great catching up with you. I love your energy. Hold on, we got one more maybe.
Okay.
From
I like it. Keto Clan. I lost over 100 pounds on the keto diet with my group. That person's in my group. Lost over 100 pounds. Pretty crazy.
Got another question from Pollyanna. Talk about saturated fats.
That's a tricky one. So saturated fats can contribute to high cholesterol. And for years, we've been told cholesterol is the reason for a lot of heart disease. You know, I've been doing my research. I think everything is more about inflammation, controlling inflammation. You know, there's a lot of conflicting studies now coming out about cholesterol. You know, good, is it good? Is it bad? What could it be? So I think the jury's still out on that. But the American Heart Association for decades, you know, was railing on cholesterol and saturated fats. Once again, everyone's different. There's also supplements you can take to counterbalance that. You know, there's fish oils you can take, ginger, turmeric. Those are all really good at thinning the blood and for overall, you know, against inflammation. I'm not so concerned, and I had what's called a walking heart attack 7 years ago. I'm not so concerned with my fat intake. I mean, I'm keto, which is 75% fat. I've never been healthier. My blood works good. My heart feels great. And they had put me on all these statins and whatnot, like, you know, Lipitor, Ramipril, Toprol, all this stuff. And then I did my research and I said, what can I do that actually mimics the effectiveness of these pharmaceuticals, but isn't bad for me because they made me feel awful. So I take ginger, turmeric, fish oil. I take a bunch of stuff. So I'm not as concerned with saturated fat as I used to be, or as much as people were focusing on it, you know, in the past. I think it's more about inflammation.
Got it. Thank you so much. Any other questions out there? I think we're good. Owen, you got any last words?
Is it time for our pool party?
It's time for our pool party, man. I'm going right by your place.
Dude, I don't want to be standing next to you at the pool party. You're going to put me to shame.
Well, let's go together.
Whoa, look at this.
Hey, Alyssa, what's going on?
I miss you.
I miss you too. It's so good to see you. What a great surprise.
Keeping it keto for you.
Keep it keto, baby. Where's the little guy? Where's the little guy?
Talking. Hold on.
That's her Tito's, not her ketos.
I love it, guys. Thanks so much.
Hold on. We got a little guy here to say hi.
Axel, what's up, my man? Look at you.
Oh, keep it keto, baby.
Keep it keto.
You got it, my man. Keep it keto. Much love to you, buddy.
He's not mine, by the way.
Yeah. Wait, we may have one more question.
Okay, let's hear it.
I don't know. I want to know what you're making for dinner last night. I saw you had those great steaks.
I'm making that again tonight. 2 big fillets.
Wow. I'm not only having fun, but I'm starving.
I'm going to have 2 big fillets drowned in butter.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, my man. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon. That was awesome.
Love you, buddy. Thank you.
Love you too, man.
All
Bye,
right.
Nissa. Bye, Axel. Bye, El Chapo. See you guys.
All right.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.